When the power grid fails in the middle of winter, your thermostat becomes a useless piece of plastic, and blankets alone won't save you from hypothermia. Winter blackouts aren't some distant disaster movie scenario anymore. They're becoming our new reality, and most people are completely unprepared for what happens when the heat stops flowing. In the next few minutes, you'll discover battle-tested heating methods used during wars, economic collapses, and total power failures. These aren't Pinterest DIY hacks or untested theories. These are proven solutions that have kept people alive when everything else failed. We're covering everything from simple, affordable options to advanced survival systems that provide true energy independence. Welcome to Food Decider, where we help you prepare for life's uncertainties. If you value your family's safety and want to be ready before disaster strikes, hit that like button and subscribe, because the margin between surviving and becoming a statistic is measured in the decisions you make right now. Let's start with the most iconic off-grid heating solution in human history, the wood-burning stove. This isn't just nostalgia talking. There's a reason this technology has survived wars, depressions, and every crisis humanity has thrown at it. When the grid collapses and your fancy smart thermostat becomes a paperweight, a wood stove becomes your lifeline. Modern wood stoves aren't like the smoky, inefficient boxes your grandparents used. Today's models are engineered masterpieces that extract every ounce of energy from each log. They burn hotter, cleaner, and more efficiently, which means a modest stockpile of wood can deliver warmth for days or even weeks. But here's what most people don't understand until it's too late. After every major storm or blackout, wood stoves and their components fly off the shelves. Supply chains don't respond quickly to panic buying, and if you wait until disaster strikes, you'll be left in the cold, literally. Beyond the physical warmth, there's something primal about a fire that modern heating systems can't replicate. The glow, the crackle, the radiant heat. It provides psychological comfort when everything else feels chaotic and out of control. That morale boost isn't just a nice to have, it's critical for clear thinking and decision making during extended emergencies. So what do you need to do? Source a quality stove and all necessary components early before panic sets in. Build your wood stockpile, and not just a few bundles from the gas station. Learn safe operation and maintenance procedures, because an improperly used wood stove can be as dangerous as having no heat at all. And recognize that you're not just buying a heating device, you're investing in both survival and sanity. Now, if you're in an apartment or rental property, wood stoves probably aren't an option. This is where portable propane heaters become your best friend. But we're not talking about those sketchy camping heaters from decades past. Modern indoor-safe propane heaters come equipped with critical safety features like oxygen depletion sensors and automatic tip-over switches. These features make them viable for indoor use without turning your living room into a carbon monoxide chamber. Propane's biggest advantage is its stelb stability. Stored in standard 20-pound tanks, propane stays potent for decades. Unlike gasoline, which degrades within months, or even kerosene, which can develop issues over years, propane just sits there, waiting for you to need it. That makes it perfect for long-term emergency preparedness. Here's the strategy that separates survivors from casualties. Don't try to heat your entire house. That's a losing battle that burns through fuel at an alarming rate. Instead, close off and heavily insulate a single room, your bedroom, a small living area, whatever makes sense for your family. Create a microclimate. Seal the door with towels, hang blankets over windows, and concentrate all your heating efforts into this one space. This approach maximizes every BTU of propane and extends your survivability dramatically. But timing is everything. Waiting for a storm to hit before sourcing your heater or fuel is a recipe for disaster. When the weather forecast turns ugly, everyone else has the same idea, and stores sell out within hours. Plan ahead, purchase early, and store safely. Learn the proper operation procedures and safety protocols for propane storage, because one mistake can turn your survival solution into a catastrophe. Let's talk about something most people have completely forgotten about: kerosene heaters. In many parts of the world, especially where power grids are unreliable, kerosene heaters are used daily. They're not relics or antiques, they're workhorses that deliver powerful heat without requiring any electricity whatsoever. The simple wick system in a kerosene heater is brilliantly low-tech. No circuit boards, no electronic ignition, no motors, just fuel, a wick, and fire. This simplicity means they're almost impossible to break, and they warm even poorly insulated spaces effectively. 5 gallons of K1 grade kerosene packs serious energy density and stores more easily than the bulky propane tanks you'd need for equivalent heat output. The problem is supply. Fewer and fewer gas stations carry kerosene these days, and seasonal demand can wipe out local stocks overnight. When winter hits and power outages start making headlines, good luck finding any. That's why you need to locate reliable sources now and secure proper storage containers before you need them. Modern kerosene heaters aren't the smoky, dangerous units from the past. Current models include auto shutoffs and other safety features that address the old concerns about burns and fumes. But, and this is critical, you still need proper ventilation.
Crack a window, use the heater in a space with adequate airflow, and never fall asleep with it running unless you've taken proper safety precautions. Understand the ventilation requirements and daily operation procedures before you need to use it in an emergency. Now let's move into some more innovative territory. If you're serious about ultra efficiency and you own your property, you need to know about rocket mass heaters. This is where engineering meets survival in the most beautiful way possible. Unlike a traditional wood stove that sends most of its heat straight up the chimney, a rocket mass heater captures nearly all the heat produced and stores it in thermal mass, usually a bench made of cob, stone, or brick. This mass then radiates warmth for hours, sometimes up to 12 or 24 hours after the fire has gone out. We're talking about heating your home with literal twigs, branches, and waste wood that you'd normally throw away or leave rotting in your yard. The efficiency is almost unbelievable until you see it in action. You can maintain comfortable temperatures while burning a fraction of the fuel a conventional stove requires. This drastically reduces your labor and fuel requirements, which in a long-term grid-down scenario could mean the difference between exhausting your resources in weeks versus surviving for months. The downside is that rocket mass heaters require permanent installation and construction knowledge. This isn't something you buy off Amazon and set up in an afternoon. You're building a thermal battery into your home, which makes them impractical for renters, but absolutely ideal for dedicated homeowners or people with off-grid properties. If fuel shortages are your nightmare scenario, a rocket mass heater provides unparalleled insurance. Start by researching diagrams and construction techniques. There are excellent resources online and in specialized books. Plan your installation carefully, considering space requirements and local building codes. Begin gathering scrap wood sources, dead branches, construction waste, orchard prunings, and train yourself in safe operation. This is an investment that pays dividends for decades. For those in dense urban environments where traditional heating solutions are illegal or simply impossible, alcohol and ethanol heaters offer a critical lifeline. These compact, clean-burning units are portable, produce minimal smoke or carbon monoxide, and run on fuel that comes in easy-to-store plastic bottles with excellent shelf stability. Here's what makes these particularly brilliant for city dwellers. While propane tanks disappear from stores within hours of a crisis announcement and kerosene becomes impossible to find, denatured alcohol and bioethanol are often overlooked. They're available longer because most people don't think of them as emergency heating fuels. That oversight becomes your advantage. Now, let's be realistic. These heaters won't warm a large apartment or multi-room space, but they're perfect for creating microclimates. Heat your bedroom, heat your bathroom, heat whatever single space you'll be spending most of your time in. Combined with proper insulation tactics, sealing doors, covering windows with blankets, and using reflective materials, you can maintain survivable temperatures in a small area while using very little fuel. Procurement is straightforward. Buy alcohol heaters designed for indoor use and stockpile sufficient denatured alcohol or bioethanol. Designate your emergency microclimate room and practice your setup. Learn safe handling and ventilation guidelines because even clean burning fuels need air circulation. This is about urban survival, and sometimes the best solution is the one nobody else thinks of. We need to talk about something that gets shared constantly on social media, but deserves a realistic assessment: candle and clay pot heaters. You've probably seen the terracotta heater DIYs floating around, a few candles under an inverted clay pot supposedly warming an entire room. Let's cut through the hype and get to what actually works. This is a survival solution at the margins. It will not heat your living room to a comfortable 70 degrees. It will not replace a proper heating system. But in a small, well-insulated, enclosed space, it can raise temperatures by several critical degrees, enough to move you from dangerous hypothermia territory into survivable conditions. That's not nothing, but you need to understand its limitations going in. Safety is absolutely paramount with this method. You need a stable, non-flammable base like a baking sheet or metal tray. The candles must be positioned properly with spacers to allow airflow beneath the pot. And you need ventilation. Even candles produce carbon monoxide in enclosed spaces. This setup requires constant monitoring. You can't just light it and forget about it. Gather your supplies now. Terracotta pots in various sizes, quality candles that burn for hours, spacers or risers, and non-flammable base materials. Practice your setup in controlled conditions so you understand how it works and what to watch for. Reserve this method for true emergencies in small, well-insulated rooms where other options aren't available. It's a last resort tool, but last resorts have saved countless lives. Let's shift into heavy-duty territory. Coal heating isn't pretty, it isn't trendy, and it certainly isn't easy, but it delivers thermal endurance that nothing else can match. We're talking about 12 to 24-hour burn times without refueling, which means continuous heat while you conserve your personal energy for other survival tasks. Anthracite coal in particular is legendary for its high BTU content. It burns hot, burns long, and stores indefinitely when kept dry. This makes it a strategic long-term asset for serious preppers.
While others are constantly tending fires or swapping propane tanks, you can bank a coal fire at night and wake up to warmth in the morning. But coal isn't plug and play. You need a specialized stove rated specifically for coal. Don't try to burn it in a wood stove as you'll damage the unit and create dangerous conditions. Proper venting is absolutely non-negotiable because coal produces serious carbon monoxide. You need quality CO detectors with backup batteries as part of your coal heating system, not as an optional extra. Supply is another consideration. As our energy infrastructure continues shifting away from coal, suppliers are becoming harder to find. This isn't something you can pick up at Home Depot during a blizzard. Advanced purchasing is critical. Invest in a coal-rated stove, install proper CO detection, secure a supply of anthracite coal, and learn correct banking techniques for extended burn times. If you're preparing for the long haul, weeks or months of grid failure, coal provides staying power that most other fuels simply can't deliver. Oil heaters are the forgotten champions of off-grid heating. While everyone's focused on propane and wood, modern oil heaters operating on kerosene, diesel, or heating oil deliver reliable, high-density warmth with impressive endurance. These fuels are far more stable than gasoline over multi-year storage periods, making deep stockpiling not just possible, but practical. Advanced safety features and adjustable heat outputs make modern oil heaters surprisingly user-friendly. They're often dismissed as old-fashioned or outdated, but that's just fashion talking. In a crisis, when propane supplies have evaporated and wood is scarce, your stockpile of diesel or heating oil becomes liquid gold. While your neighbors scramble for dwindling resources, you'll have stable, powerful heat reserves. Secure a modern oil heater compatible with multiple fuel types. This flexibility is crucial for adapting to whatever fuel you can source. Stockpile diesel or heating oil in appropriate long-term storage containers with proper stabilizers. Stay informed about local supply status and potential shortages before they materialize. The survivalist who acts ahead of the curve always has options that the reactive masses don't. Now let's talk about something that shifts the entire equation. Instead of burning fuel to heat air, what if you heat your body directly? Modern heated gear, jackets, socks, gloves, rechargeable hand warmers, conserve resources while maximizing comfort. You're putting the heat exactly where it matters most, rather than trying to warm cubic feet of air that's constantly losing energy. For nighttime survival, sub-zero rated sleeping bags create microenvironments that trap and reflect body heat. Layer these with thermal biddy sacks and mylar blanket liners, and you've built a super-insulated cocoon that requires zero fuel to maintain. This isn't just about physical warmth, it provides psychological stability. Constant cold leads to demoralization and poor decision-making, which in a survival scenario can be fatal. Purchase battery-powered heated clothing and quality gear now, not when you need it. Acquire high-quality sleeping bags rated for extreme cold. Look for ratings at least 20 degrees below your region's typical winter lows. Stock multiple power banks and small personal heaters. This body-focused strategy is particularly brilliant because it stacks with every other heating method we've discussed. Heat your microclimate room with propane, then layer on heated gear for maximum efficiency. Here's something most people completely overlook because it's not sexy or high-tech: thermal mass and passive heating strategies. This is about working smarter instead of harder, leveraging physics instead of just throwing more fuel at the problem. Dense materials like stone, brick, concrete, and water absorb heat during the day or when placed near active heat sources, then release that stored energy gradually overnight. By positioning water jugs near sunlit windows during the day or next to your wood stove, you're creating thermal batteries that flatten temperature swings and conserve heat within your warm room. Passive techniques amplify this effect. Set up a camping tent indoors to create a heat-retaining bubble. Use reflective mylar blankets to bounce radiant heat back into living spaces instead of letting it escape through walls and windows. Seal every draft with weather stripping, towels, or expanding foam. Hang heavy blankets or sleeping bags over windows and doors at night to prevent heat loss. Identify and seal drafts throughout your home. Use incense or a candle to detect airflow, then address every leak you find. Assemble water containers or gather heavy stones to position near heat sources as thermal mass. Utilize reflective surfaces strategically to redirect heat where you need it most. These passive strategies don't replace active heating, but they dramatically extend how long your fuel supplies last. For the advanced survivalist willing to invest in cutting-edge self-sufficiency, biomass gasifiers represent the ultimate fuel independence. These devices transform yard waste, twigs, pine cones, sawdust, agricultural scrap, basically any organic material, into flammable wood gas through a thermal conversion process. You're effectively turning your waste management into energy production. The implications are staggering. As long as organic material exists around you, you have infinite heating potential. No more dependency on supply chains, no more rationing fuel supplies, no more calculating how many days your propane will last. You're generating energy from resources that most people consider garbage. Construction and operation require technical skill and mechanical understanding, but the self-sufficiency payoff is immense. In a scenario where all conventional fuels are exhausted or unavailable, a biomass gasifier keeps you warm while everyone else freezes. Study designs and functional principles of various gasifier types. Gather training resources or contact DIY communities for fabrication assistance. Designate a secure workshop or outdoor space for operation, considering ventilation and safety clearances. Finally, let's talk about the longest-term, most infrastructure-heavy solution: geothermal and earth-sheltered design. This is about harnessing the Earth's stable subsurface temperature, which remains relatively constant regardless of surface weather extremes. We're not talking about electric geothermal heat pumps that require grid power. We're talking about passive designs that use Earth itself as an insulating buffer. Air circulation routed through underground pipes, called earth tubes, naturally pre-warms or pre-cools intake air. In winter, air entering your home at 55 degrees is far easier to heat to 70 than air coming in at 20 below zero. For new builds or long-term retreat properties, integrating earth-sheltered principles drastically reduces fuel requirements and enhances survival resilience.
Even in existing homes, climate battery systems can be retrofitted to pre-warm intake air, stretching conventional fuel supplies significantly further. The upfront investment is substantial, but the ongoing fuel savings and energy independence are unmatched. Consider earth-sheltered construction for new homes or retreat properties. Explore earth tube installations as supplements to existing heating systems. Optimize your use of thermal mass for both cooling and heating cycles. This is thinking decades ahead, building true resilience into your living space rather than just stockpiling consumables. Here's the fundamental mindset shift that separates survivors from casualties. When the grid goes down, your goal isn't maintaining every room at a cozy room temperature. That's fantasy thinking that will exhaust your resources in days. Your goal is triage, focusing on microclimates, stacking multiple off-grid methods, and relying on both active preparedness and passive techniques to extend your survivability. You cannot afford to depend on just-in-time shopping or last-minute panic buying. The moment a crisis becomes visible, supplies vanish, wood stoves sell out, propane tanks disappear, kerosene becomes unavailable. The window between awareness and scarcity is measured in hours, not days. Preparation done purposefully, early, and with clear-eyed assessment of your living situation is the ultimate form of insurance. So, here's your action plan. Right now, today, assess your vulnerabilities. Consider your location, property type, whether you rent or own, and your family's specific needs. Choose your primary and backup heat sources based on what actually makes sense for your situation, not what sounds coolest or what some guru on the internet recommends for everyone. Stockpile fuel before shortages hit. Monitor your local suppliers. Build supply buffers for wood, propane, kerosene, and whatever alternative fuels your system requires. Don't wait for the forecast to turn ugly. Invest in insulated spaces and microclimate gear. Prepare one or more rooms to act as survival hubs where you'll concentrate your heating efforts. Educate yourself and practice. Learn safe operation and maintenance of each device. Rehearse switching between systems. Run drills where you actually use your backup heating for a weekend to identify problems before they become life-threatening emergencies. The time to discover your propane heater doesn't work properly is now, not when it's 15 below zero and the power's been out for 3 days. Long-term, deepen your resilience through infrastructure investments. Consider integrating passive heating solutions like thermal mass and earth tubes if you own property. Enhance redundancy. Prepare for multiple points of failure in fuel supply and device operation. Stay informed and adaptable by monitoring emerging heating technologies and survival community recommendations. The grid isn't getting more reliable, it's getting more fragile. Energy scarcity isn't some future problem. It's here, it's real, and it's accelerating. By mastering these proven off-grid heating sources, you're not just insulating yourself from physical hardship, you're reclaiming agency and control in uncertain times. Whether through a stack of wood, a canister of propane, a bundle of heated gear, or an earth-sheltered home, the ultimate survival advantage lies in preparation that's ruthless, realistic, and ahead of the curve. Choose your method. Start preparing today. Share this information with people you care about, because when winter blackouts hit, survival won't depend on luck. It'll depend on the choices you make right now. If you found this valuable, smash that like button and subscribe to Food Decider. We're here to help you prepare for whatever comes next. Stay warm, stay safe, and stay ready.